Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sci-Fi Super Show. You know, the cool small podcast where I rant about stuff sci-fi, fantasy, or what have you, and you listen or comment or do whatever you would like to do because this is a community. Everybody that loves sci-fi is invited. Now, today, if I remember, this is episode 3 of season 2. Today, or rather this month, is the month of scares. The month of horrors. The month of just watching so many scary or fantasy or sci-fi or any sort of movie or show for Halloween. It is the month of Halloween. October is upon us. And this is probably one of my favorite months of the year just because of that. I'm going to go on a Alien, Predator, Terminator. I can't really think of anything else, but I'm just going to go on a massive sci-fi marathon. And nothing will stop me, and I'm going to enjoy every single minute of it just as you should. Well, not enjoy me watching it, but you guys should just go out and watch it for yourself and enjoy Halloween for what it is, just like I am. Anyway, let's get on to the topics for this week. I'm browsing through Facebook here, and I'm not seeing much of any kind of new news that I would really want to talk about, or news that's big enough. Yeah, there's none here. None that I haven't really already brought up before. So I'll just bring up some debate topics. Who doesn't love debate topics? I personally love debate topics, depending on what it is. This one, I love. Now, going back to last week's podcast, I discussed that the new Skull Island movie will lead up to a remake, and hopefully a colossal remake, of King Kong versus Godzilla. And my question here is simply, who would win? It's not so simple, I found out, apparently. King Kong versus Godzilla, who will win? This has been an age-old question ever since the release of King Kong versus Godzilla. It was the East versus the West. And I couldn't at first see who would win in a fight like this. But now I do, and I'm going to walk step by step with you and see who exactly would have the advantages, disadvantages, and just who would win the entire thing based on the upcoming movie. So anyway, let's get going. First off, let's start off with the original King Kong vs. Godzilla. The first King Kong vs. Godzilla, I believe, aired first at 1964. I'm going to double check that right now. If you'll excuse me, this will take a little bit. King Kong vs. Godzilla first aired in 1962. Okay, I was 2 years off. June 3rd. Not bad. And it was 1963 in the US, so pretty much just 62. So yes, 1962, we were introduced to one of the greatest clashes of all times. The West monster, King Kong, versus the East monster, Godzilla. I lost it when I saw this movie. I was enthralled by the entire idea, and I was begging for a remake because it deserved it. And I've seen the original King Kong, too, along with the original Godzilla. And it doesn't exactly make sense how a fight could be put together against just this larger ape against a gigantic fire lizard monster. Like, they had to beef up King Kong to Godzilla's size for him to even be any kind of challenge to him. And even then, Godzilla was just beating the shit out of him the entire time. He was just hitting him with his tail, blasting him with his atomic breath, and just smashing him into everything and knocking him down and just beating him up. King Kong had a few good moves, yes, like pulling up a tree and shoving it down Godzilla's throat, which then Godzilla blasts it back at him. But, yeah, this whole movie, for 62, I can allow a few inaccuracies based on what would happen in this fight. So let's hop ahead a few years to I forgot when this comes out, but like 2019, 2018? No, 2018's Godzilla 2. I have no clue when it's coming out, but yeah, so it would be the legendary Godzilla from 2014. You know, the one that did a King Kong move, well, pretty much King Kong version 2, to a giant Muto. Spoilers, by the way, he pulled the Muto over to him, and I thought he was going to break open his jaw, but no, he opened up his mouth and blasted his atomic breath into it. That alone got me up and started cheering for Godzilla. The rest of the movie wasn't so great, but that one scene just was completely amazing, and it blew my mind. And then you pair that Godzilla up with, say, Peter Jackson's King Kong from 2005, just Godzilla size. Now, that King Kong is a pretty cool King Kong. He's a great fighter. Like when he's fighting against the three Rexes, and he's just like punching one after another and after another, just like in the Matrix. He's just punching one after another, and they keep coming back. He keep punching them. That was a great scene too. But just to have Godzilla just grappling things and just smashing them in the buildings, and King Kong like being pretty weak, I would say, to stuff like that. Like, he'll be really hurt by being smashed into buildings. Godzilla had a building taller than he was crash on him, and he still just got up and made that amazing fatality. So I can't really say there's any sort of debate here that King Kong versus Godzilla would end with Godzilla winning. There's no debate. Godzilla would utterly destroy him. Because for one, he's a stronger, more durable dragon, basically, with an atomic breath. I mean, it'll be a good fight, sure, but I don't really see it as a good enough challenge. King Ghidorah, Mothra, and Rodan, I have a feeling, are bigger threats than King Kong at this point. Actually, no, let me rephrase that. I'll say that in this particular order, from least dangerous to most dangerous, it would go Rodan, Mothra, King Kong, and then King Ghidorah. So, he's the bigger challenge than Mothra or Rodan, sure. Maybe not together, but apart, yes. And Godzilla would still beat him. There's no possible reason for Godzilla to lose this, unless, you know, the military are with King Kong and want to destroy Godzilla for some reason. You know, just for some random reason. I don't know, it could be for smashing buildings or for stepping on that one IHOP that everybody loves, but you know, I don't know. I'm very excited to see this movie. And whenever it comes out, my vote absolutely is for Godzilla. Will always be for Godzilla. He will win, no question. That's the end of that. Let us go through and... Alright, next topic. Now, I know this is a new topic. This show on NBC came out a few weeks ago, and it's a continuation to one of my favorite series ever that started in 2005. It's called Heroes, and the new addition onto it is called Heroes Reborn. And Heroes Reborn takes place after takes a few years after the events of the end of Heroes. And the first episode came out, or the first and second episode came out together about 2 weeks ago, I think. I've yet to watch the third episode. I'm going to do that after this podcast. And then and right now I'm going to talk about my first impressions on this. Now, everybody's problem with Heroes originally is that it started off really, really strong, and then as time went on, it got very, very weak, and that's when most people just tuned out of it, and that's why NBC closed it down or canceled it. And then they went through a few years of trying to gather information, trying to see what exactly went wrong, because this is a good series. We just need to pay a bit more of attention on it, especially with the superhero movies and shows that are coming out like Daredevil and Guardians of the Galaxy. There would definitely have to be more attention put into a show like Heroes, and it is absolutely worth it. What happened with that came something, I would say, Heroes Reborn has a few good elements to it, but it also has a few not so good elements. Like, okay, a few elements I would say is that they kept most of the good stuff that made the original series great. Like, they brought back Noah Bennett, who's, I think, pretty much just the new main protagonist, along with new people with abilities called Evos, like Evolution Evos. It makes sense for the whole thing. And there's from what I can tell so far, I haven't seen any new original heroes come back. Now, I know there will be very soon, like Hiro Nakamura, my favorite character, a time traveler, will be back. And I cannot wait for that. And a few others I can't really name off the top of my head, but the first few episodes of Heroes Reborn, they made me remember why I love this series so much. And I can absolutely see why some people left the series because it was not as great as it originally was. But this series makes up for that, absolutely makes up for that. I love Heroes Reborn right now. It introduced a new element to Heroes that I feel like we have seen before, but it kind of shed new light on it. And that's what I love about TV shows when they're rebooted, is that they would introduce new stuff to it to make it 10 times better than the original. If you ever get a chance, watch Heroes Reborn on NBC every Thursday. I think that's how it goes. And if you're a fan of any sort of like X-Men, Fantastic Four kind of thing, you will really like this show. You will really like it. I love it. I love it. I cannot wait to watch the next one. So, yeah, Heroes Reborn has a few good scenes, such as how humanity would legitimately treat these newly evolved people, and I absolutely see this happening. Aside from what happened in the original series, I feel like this is how society would react to this. That's a good thing, but a bad thing are some of the abilities people have. Like, there's this one Japanese woman who, she takes her sword, and hear me out on this, I'm not making this up, she holds her sword above her, or in front of her rather, and she opens it, like she takes it out of the sheath, and then she gets transported into a video game world and starts like fighting video game like characters. And I'm just like, why is this even a power? That's not legitimately possible for this series. Yes, some people have telekinesis or like can teleport people away, which is another new one that I saw in this series, which is amazing. But this one is just like, why does this need to be a thing? I need to see it out to really buy it, but I'm not really liking that power. And I'm really strict on superpowers. Like, if you pick a certain superpower, you'd have to be very, very specific on it. Like, if you have telekinesis, you'd have to be sure that it's like a legit try at telekinesis. Like, you would have to actually show how your body would react when you use telekinesis, which the show does, aside from just, just wildly waving your arm around and just have stuff flying everywhere. X-Men. Like, okay, and, yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say about Heroes Reborn, is that it was a good wake-up for the series, and I would consider it to be almost better than the original. It's not as good as the first season of the original series, but it's better than every other season. I guarantee it. And if you like this stuff, check it out. I highly recommend it. And that is all I really have to say on Heroes Reborn. And let's see, let's have one last look on Facebook. See if there's anything that just popped up as I'm recording this. So everybody just stay tuned. I'll be with you, or I'll still be here, but I'm just going to scroll through. Let's have a look here. We are scrolling through Facebook, seeing what pops up. Jurassic World Blu-ray comes out in 2 weeks. So, you know, pre-order while you can. I know I will. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, this is kind of off topic, but not really. How great is Stan Lee? I mean, he's a pretty great guy. He is just one of the greatest human beings you could possibly ever know. Don't know why I said that. It's just because he is a great guy, but I mean, I don't know why I brought that up. He kind of just deserves the life of luxury, I see. So, okay, I'm scrolling through a lot of posts on Facebook, and I'm not exactly seeing much to talk about. Yeah, alright, well, I guess that is all I have to say. Oh, hold on, this is big. I just found this. Okay, so Pepsi, you guys know Pepsi, right? The delicious soft drink. Pepsi will release a limited edition Back to the Future bottle, Pepsi Perfect. I'm not even joking. Pepsi Perfect is a thing, and it is here. And I'm gonna look at, oh lord, the prices for this are insane. They're like $200. That's insane. Oh jeez, man. That's probably worth it. I mean, it's 2015. You got Pepsi Perfect here. Oh man, I am very tempted to buy that. Because you guys remember in Back to the Future Part 2, where Marty walks into the futuristic cafe, and he's standing in for his son, and then he orders a Pepsi, not knowing that he ordered a Pepsi Perfect, and he gets this weird bottle. He doesn't know how to open it. I love that. And that's exactly what Pepsi is making right now. Oh man, I would love to have that. That looks absolutely amazing. If I can somehow get an image of this, I'll try to put it up on the podcast. But yeah, man, you guys should check that out. Just look up Pepsi limited edition Pepsi Perfect. Man. And the thing is, we're still waiting on flying cars and self-lacing shoes and hoverboards. Sad thing is, we may never get that. Now, I hope we will, though. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I have to say for this podcast. It was a pretty good podcast. We discussed how King Kong would fare against Godzilla. He wouldn't fare that well. Godzilla would absolutely beat him into a pulp. We talked about how Heroes Reborn rekindled that light of what made Heroes so great. If you haven't heard of Heroes, check it out. It's great. I love it. It's on NBC, and Heroes, the original series, is on Netflix, so in case you wanted to know that, it's on there, so check it out. And, well, for a portion of this podcast, I was scrolling through Facebook trying to find a good post, and it was worth it because I found this Pepsi Perfect post. Pepsi Perfect post. It is a perfect post. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on this podcast. And I will see you in a week. Yeah, So, while you wait, you could watch Alien, watch Predator, you could watch Back to the Future. I don't care, just watch something in regards to Halloween. It's that time again. It's Scarefest. Let's get watching. See you next week.